Hello and welcome to FIFAE Talks, the home of football esports, where I'll be joined by various guests from around the world of football gaming to learn more about what makes them tick on and off the virtual pitch. Today I'm joined by the 2022 FIFAE Club World Cup champion and a man who has dominated the Portuguese pro scene for a few years now. Tuga, how are we feeling, sir?
First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm glad that I'm here talking to you. And yeah, I'm feeling great. Let's get this started.
Yes, sir. Now, obviously, his accolades speak for themselves. You can go there on Google and read all of them. But we're not here for that. We want to learn more about the personality, what makes him tick, what made him start the life of gaming, life of football. And then you can get all of your meta tactics and how to improve as a pro player. And then we'll end with some quick fire Q&A hot seat questions. So, have to start somewhere. I see you wearing the shirt. I see the big Portuguese flag. Chat to me. Life, were you always living in Portugal? Did you grow up there? How's that?
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm 25. I live all my life in Portugal. I was born in more like in the countryside, in a small city. But then when I was 18, 19, I moved to Lisbon, where I live right now. And speaking about a little bit of me, I've been like a football lover. Like in real life, I played football for like all my childhood until I was 18, 19. And my passion for football, I think it helped me to play video games about football. So I've been playing since I was a kid, and I've been enjoying since this day, and I keep continuing to play for more years.
You already have the questions in front of me because I was going to ask you about the football side of things. Obviously, Portuguese, you have to be into football. It's impossible to not like it. So, a bit of a controversial question I'll ask you already. Cristiano Ronaldo or Eusebio? Who's more of like a Portuguese legend in your eyes?
I mean, they were both really good and great for Portugal. But I think Cristiano edges a little bit because of like the 2 international trophies, the role model he's been in the top for almost 2 decades. So I think for me, he's my idol. So I need to pick him as number 1.
Yeah, that's more than fair enough. Now, I have been to Lisbon before. Wonderful city. The beaches look amazing. What would you say is the best part about living in Portugal for you?
I think the weather might be like a really good thing about Portugal, and comparing to a lot of countries across Europe. The beaches you said are really good. There are also a lot of really cool mountains to visit some places in the mountains. So I think the river is really cool. So there are a lot of things to do in Portugal, and especially in Lisbon. That I can recommend everyone to come to see, to have an experience, and I think and I'm sure that they will love it.
Yeah, and I also second that thing. I vouch for Lisbon. That is an amazing city. So you said you've been playing football since you grew up. What then got you into gaming? Not professional, just gaming in general. Have you always been playing games from very young?
Yeah, my father usually tells me that I started playing like video games when I was like 2-3 years old, because I have like an older brother, 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
And when he started, he was like 5-6, and I enjoyed watching him and always wanted to play. So I was 3 years old younger. When I was like 2-3, he always said me that I started playing at that age. I was really young, but my passion about football and video games started in a really young age.
And then at what point did you realize, oh, you know what, I'm quite good at this?
I mean, when I was a young boy, we usually, me, my father and my brothers usually play some tournaments at home, and I was often the winner. And then in my school, with my friends, obviously, I was the best player of my friends, but sure. I never realized that I was going to be a pro, or I didn't even know that there was a pro scene since I was like 17, 18. But the moments that I realized that okay, if I practice more or if I make these things like more seriously, I can be a pro player. It was like there was a tournament in my city, which is called Castelo Branco, which was my mother that told me that there was going to be a tournament. I knew that some pros, like back in FIFA 18, some Portuguese pro players were going to be there playing. So and I wasn't a pro player, and I signed up to play that tournament, just to know him, to know them, just to play against them, to see my level. Unfortunately, I won that tournament, being like a free agent. And that moment, I think, okay, I just played the best Portuguese players in the scene. I beat them, so probably if I start to play more seriously, maybe I can be a pro. And in FIFA 19, I started to play it like, as I said, take the things more seriously. I started playing the champions, the 30 games back then. Started to make 30 NOs, making the top 200 leaderboards, and then I started playing the online qualifiers. And I qualified for a lot of LAN tournaments. I didn't even make the FIFAE World Cup in London, the finals. And I was like from a free agent at the beginning of the season on FIFA 19. I ended up in top 8 of the PS4 World Cup.
Oh,
so it was
there
like
you
a huge climb. And since that game, I just make and play this seriously. And I've been enjoying this ride.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very different journey. You described part of it there, but also one big factor we have to mention is the army. Not many pro players just have random links towards the army. So chat to me about that one. What happened there? Was it your choice? Was it maybe your parents that were pushing you towards there?
I have like my brother joined the army like 3 years before me, and he told me about the experience. He showed me. I enjoyed. I like it as well. So I decided to candidate myself when I was like 18. I've been doing it until now, and I'm really enjoying. And I can make both things, and hopefully doing and combine both things for more years. But obviously, there are no. This is difficult, obviously, to combine both things because it takes me and it consumes me a lot of time, not only to practice for tournaments or to make myself fit and have like physical conditions to continue, but I've been enjoying this and combining both things. Obviously, for me, it's always special because I can like be playing video games, which is a passion for me, but also I can serve my country as well.
Yeah. So how would you say then, like an average day for Tuga looks like? Are you waking up and you're in the gym straight away, or you're getting a few division rivals game practice? What happens from waking up even to going to bed?
Right now, like I wake up. I don't remember like in the last 2-3 years to wake up later than like 9 a.m. I love to wake up early, honestly, but nowadays I wake up like at 7 a.m. Go to work. In the work, obviously, I go to the gym to like 1 hour to be fit, obviously, and then I go back home in the afternoon. And obviously, I know I need to practice. I need to make some games, like jump into rivals game or into champions, or even doing friendly scrims against other pros. I usually play nowadays like 2-3 hours just to obviously to keep up with the meta, with everything on the pro scene. And obviously when there is a tournament soon, I obviously in the 1-2 weeks early of the tournament, in that moment or in that weeks, I usually play a lot, like 4 or 5 or even 6 hours a day, just to getting myself ready for the tournament.
Fair enough. Yeah, that is a very packed schedule. I understand why that may be a bit difficult. So could you say maybe one thing that most people don't know about being in the army or anything army related? Because obviously I've never been in the army, I've never enrolled in anything. What's something that maybe people believe that is a misconception or it's not true about the army?
I don't know how to explain, but obviously like the people who like to be or people who love their country, I think it's always a good experience just to go there, even maybe just have like a taste or an experience of what's doing there. So I think like maybe people, if they like it, just to I always recommend just to have the experience to be there like for like 1 month, 1 year, because there are a lot of activities that especially in Portugal that people can feel the experience and live like a military. So I always recommend people do there.
Fair enough. Yeah, you mentioned obviously being proud to represent your country and whatnot. On the esports side of things, you've been here for a few years now. What would you say is the proudest achievement you've had so far in competitive gaming?
I mean, I think the proudest achievement has to be like, as you said, back in FIFA 22, being like FIFAE Club World Cup champion. Obviously, in that moment, I knew that I was in top of the world. Of course, I won the best club trophy of the season. But obviously, I would like to win as well the E-World Cup trophy and the E-Nations if there's a possibility, of course. And probably, I think most FIFA players like the Ultimate Trophy might be the 1v1 World Cup. But for me, I think if I have to choose, I would choose definitely to be like the E-Nations World Champion, and like having like every citizen or every Portuguese citizen on my side or on the Portuguese side. I think I'll be more proud of winning that trophy.
So the Portuguese trophy is the one that you're really, really going for. That's the one that you say, you know what, I'll be happy if I've achieved that one.
Yeah, absolutely. The Nations Cup, it would be like the best one to win.
Sure. Fair enough. Now, obviously, we can't win every game. We can't win every trophy. How would you say being in the army has helped you deal with setbacks? Maybe you've lost a game that you felt like you shouldn't lose, or you didn't have the best tournament. How would you say you deal with those sort of setbacks?
I mean, as you said, sometimes like we can't win all games. Obviously, there are a lot of more professional players playing, so it's hard to win every trophy. But obviously, there are tournaments, there are games that we simply are not playing well, and it happens sometimes. And being in the army helped me a lot, because most likely like the discipline, like to have my mentality on points, it gives me a lot of confidence, a lot of like when I lose or when I play a bad game, there is no time to keep my head down, to like think about like negative things, or like okay, maybe I'm not good anymore, or maybe I should stop playing because there are people who are way better than me. Like probably and being in army helps me a lot in this like mentality sides of getting always confidence. When I lose a game, okay, I just lost a game, let's focus on the next one, just practice more and to win the next one.
Fair enough. So Portuguese players, there are a few of you. I mean, we've got plenty of good players from every country. Would you, and you can be honest, would you say you're the number one Portuguese player at the moment?
In this season, probably not. I think I have to be honest, like in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been, I think, the number one. In this season, I think like I played good. I had like good tournaments, but I think Jafonso right now in this season, in this FC24, it was exceptional. The things needs to be done, and he won the MLS, which is a tier 1 league. He went to the World Cup and did the top 4. So like in this season, he has to be like the best Portuguese player of FC24, and I'm glad that probably. What do I think? I could be sad, or I could be like not angry, but frustrated.
Salty,
not
you
being,
could be salty about it. Basically,
is that not being the best one? But I think like there are these moments, and I think things happen in life for some reason, and I often enjoy having like someone trying not to beat me, but to be better than me, because it gives me strength to I need to
it pushes you
practice
further
more.
too.
I need to push myself more to like next season to be, for example, better than Jafonso, or better than any Portuguese player who will have like a good season. So, but to resume, I think I've been the best Portuguese player maybe in history across these 4 or 5 years, but this season obviously Jafonso had like a great season, and probably the best season of a Portuguese player. But it gives me strength to just next season to keep focused and to push myself to be the number one again.
Okay. Yeah, obviously I've met a few of the Dutch pros, I've met a few of the French pros, and it seems to me like they always seem to be quite close and friendly. There's not really like a beef or like an animosity. Is that the same with the Portuguese? Are you guys like quite cool when you see each other at the events, at LAN events, for example? Are you all buddy?
Yeah, like in the game, when we're facing each other, we are like there are usually a lot of provokes. People like to provoke each other, but it's like in the game. We are obviously rivals. We are opponents in the game, so it makes things like salty a bit more. So I obviously enjoy competition, but outside of that, and when we go like, especially when we go outside to a LAN tournaments, Portuguese players usually I think always pushes themselves like a country, like a whole group, and we don't look at, okay, I'm representing one Apogee, Jafonso is representing his club. We don't usually like see this separation. We are both Portuguese, so let's support each other when we are not facing each other, obviously.
Fair enough. That makes complete sense, and it's good to see that everyone can still be friendly outside of the pitch, where we know people can do things that are very toxic during the game, for sure. So who would you say maybe is your, outside of the ones you've just mentioned from Portugal, who is like your biggest rivals outside of that, where you face them and you're like, oof, this is going to be like a difficult game today, or I don't really enjoy playing this person?
If I have like to say, I usually like to compare myself like to the players who joined the FIFA Pro scene more or less at the same time as me. So like back in FIFA 19, FIFA 18, I usually like to play against players like Nicolas and Tex, like old pro players that they are really good, obviously right now. But I enjoyed probably the most playing against that type of players who are in the scene for a long time. So if I have to say two, it has to be like Tex and Nicolas.
Fair. That makes sense, I would say. You mentioned Tex, a question that I wanted to ask, and I ask it to most people. If you had to make like a Mount Rushmore, so basically your top 4 players of all time, which 4 names would you have up there? I assume Tex would be one of them.
Yeah, no? Absolutely. I think the top 3 at the end of this season, it's still the same for me as it was like in 2 seasons ago. It has to be like Tex, Nicolas, and Dossari. And for me, the right correct order, it might be like I have to say like probably Tex third, Dossari second, and Nicolas first. Although Nicolas hasn't won like probably the best 1v1 tournament. The consistency he showed for 6-7 years, I think it's, for me, is greater than winning one time like the FIFA World Cup. Obviously, I respect all opinions. This is mine, and for me, he's still the best one. Dossari, I think, needs to be second because he has the FIFA 18 FIFA World Cup champion. He was the FIFA World Cup champion. In FIFA 19, he was the second, or the reverse. I'm not sure yet. And Tex, obviously for this FIFA 19 season, he was pretty dominant whole season. He's still doing his job this season. He won the Premier League, so he needs to be there, obviously. And in the 4th place, I think it's really tight because players like PHZin, Hummuts, and probably Anders. Anders, it's literally his 2nd season. For me, if he continues to keep up the rhythm, he'll be the GOAT for me. I think I've never seen a prime player like Anders, like dominating everything. The timings, like he do everything perfect. So for me, I probably put Anders 4th because he played like 2 seasons until now, and he has won the Euros, the FIFA Club World Cup champion last year, this World Cup, the FC Pro World Championship this year. So I mean, 3 major trophies in 2 years. It's really dominant. So I think he has to be 4th. But PHC and especially Umut are obviously neck and neck for me in the 5th place.
Interesting, because I was going to ask you then, like, the current 3 best in the world, and I was going to say, can any of them break into that 4? But you're saying Anders is there already. Fair enough. So who would you say then, alongside Anders, is in the top 3 at the moment this year?
this year I think PHN has to be one. He didn't have a good FC Pro World Championship, as I said earlier. It's like it's almost impossible to be at the very top in every tournament. So he won the FC Pro Open back in the beginning of the season. He won the Eredivisie, the Dutch league. I mean, he won almost everything he played. Obviously, there was like a not good FC Pro World Championship for him, but he also has the Esports World Cup coming up, and he might revenge himself. But PHN has to be on top, and I think the third player that can or that I'm usually I enjoying watching it. I think it can be Matias Lorano. Okay. I think he's make like a really good season. He started playing I think in FIFA 20 or FIFA 21, and he was pretty consistent. I think in the Premier League, although they both won, I think Matias was the best player of the duo of him and Tex, and not only on Premier League but also in the FC Pro Open, in this World Championship, in every tournament he played. I think I found him like really consistent. So I think he has to be like him, PHN, and Anders in the top 3 this season.
Okay, there we are. Now we get onto the part where a lot of you're sitting there screaming, yeah, custom tactics, formations, how do I do this, blah, blah, blah. So here we are. We're going to get you your formation stuff. Now, the question that I like to ask at the beginning of this part is basically, I'm someone that I've got a couple 20s in my time. I'm not a pro player, obviously. So I'm more of like a 16 kind of guy. But I sometimes go into games and start doing player lock straight away to intimidate my opponent. So the question I want to ask is, what is something that I can do that makes you think, you know what, he's a pro player straight away? How do I make guys think that I'm a pro?
I think in the I usually when I'm playing for champions, I think I can like in the first 4 or 5 seconds of my opponent's moves to understand if he's a pro player or not. When he has the ball, if you like kick off and then like do a step over backwards, or like a ball roll and the pass, something like that. Like a play lock can be also like not intimidating, but like to
you think okay, yeah, he knows
this guy might be good.
Yeah.
But that part on attacking obviously. But for example, when I have the kickoff, I can see if my opponent don't like straight away doing tackles with the circle button. Like if he like contains more, if he like jockey, if like player switch with the analog, with the right analog switch and not with the L1. I think there are like a lot of details that we can like usually see in the first seconds if he's good or not.
It's interesting you say that, because normally when I ask, they speak about the attacking side of things and green timing. You're the first one to mention defensively. Now obviously you are someone that we know you love defending, so chat to me, what is it? Is it because of the Jose Mourinho mentality? Why is it that we love defending so much?
Maybe because people always compares me to Jose Mourinho, because I really prefer like winning 1-0 games rather than like 5-4 or 6-5 games. I loved not to concede goals, honestly, because like if I win 5-4, okay, I won the game, I score a lot, but I concede a lot. I'm not like satisfied at the very best. But when I win like 1-0 or like 2-0, I mean, okay, this guy had like the whole 90 minutes to score against me, but he couldn't. Maybe I'm too good. And like thinking about that, I love like have like my net like on 0 goals, and probably it's because of Jose Mourinho.
Fair. So would you say, and we can be honest, because I'm very much like this, are you during the game, are you a bit of a toxic player sometimes? Because like me personally, if I see someone that is misbehaving a little bit, I will start doing the most toxic stuff possible. Do you enjoy that side of things, or do you just play to win and there's no ill will during the game?
Honestly, I don't think I'm a toxic player. Sometimes it can happen doing like 1 or 2 things like just to show off. But I usually like to keep the focus all the time. Even like when I'm winning 4-0 or 5-0, it can happen. I don't like to rainbow flicks or something like just to make my opponents feel worse. I usually like to respect my opponent, obviously. So I don't consider myself as a general, as a toxic player. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong then, because I'll start sending them voice messages and I'll start pausing the game and everything. So maybe I've got to stop doing that. So defensively, how would you say that I can improve? Because I'm the kind of person that, as I've said before, because of pro clubs back in the day, like even like 10 years ago, I used to be dragging my defenders, chasing everyone. So would you say it's more about just leaving your defenders and running around with your DM to go and track everyone, or?
I mean, there are like 3-4 major tips that can help like casual to improve their gameplay. One like is like you said, like not drag players or not chase like the ball carrier all the time. It's better like to just sitting like with the DMs or with the strikers, with the defenders, and sometimes like my opponents wants that's or the first mistake he wants that it has to be the defender doing it, but most importantly it has to be the attacker that needs to do the first mistake in order to we as a defender can like steal the ball in that period of time. So like be patient and let the attacker be the first who make the mistake. I think that's like a major tip. The second one is like switching obviously with the right analog switch and not with the L1, because like we in the pro scene we always see like players triggering runs to like to the fullbacks or to the strikers, and if we don't follow the runs, we will get spammed with the L1 triangles on the back of our defense. So switching and see what is the next step of my opponent, it has to be one of always the major tips that I can give. Like trying to not to see always the ball and the player who's carrying the ball, but see what's the next step my opponent is thinking of doing it, and if like sometimes it's always better not to chase the ball but like to cut a passing lane, because I see that he wants to make that pass, and if I like, instead of baiting, I'm pressing but I'm just cutting the passing lane and I gain the ball there. It's always as well another tip. And one more tip is like on the arrows, just flick down and flick up to have like our strikers to drop back to make the team more compact and more like together, and to reduce the space between the players.
Okay, so a lot of it is basically about anticipating and predicting what they're gonna do next, basically. So.
Exactly.
Okay, got you. And
it's like a mind game, like a chess game, and always to be like one step ahead of my opponents.
Sure. And obviously we know currently everyone is loving the 4-3-2-1. Are you a user of the 4-3-2-1 as well?
Yeah, I have to use. Honestly, I prefer to use back in the days the 4-4-2 or maybe the 4-2-3-1, but everyone knows I can explain, but it's not as effective as the 4-3-2-1. I mean, the 4-3-2-1, it gives like I think everything, especially on the attacking side. So we just need to play that tactic. But if the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1 were as good as in the previous football games, I prefer using the 4-4-2 especially.
Okay, that's interesting you say that, because obviously there are rumors circulating that in a future iteration of the game, we may not have 4-3-2-1 anymore. Does that concern you a little bit, or do you feel like you can adapt fine? It's other people that are going to be worrying?
I think for me it would be perfect. I honestly prefer that the 4-3-2-1 could disappear, because I think like if it disappears, it will make the competition easier, because there are players that couldn't adapt as well as like me, for example, who have been playing a lot of previous FIFAs in the 4-4-2, so I will be usually satisfied, happy. Exactly. Hope I will just pray that the 4-2-1 can be banned.
Fair enough. Then last I'll ask you about the sort of pro scene. If someone is watching now and then maybe someone that gets 11 or 14 or even like a 16, what would you say they need to do if they are aspiring to become a pro player like yourself? What must they do? Must they watch their games? Have they got to just enter tournaments? Where would they start?
I mean, they have to obviously to follow the pro players, because obviously we can be like the the perfect example of like showing the upcoming tournaments, where can you sign, but obviously there are other tips that can help more, like usually watching like pro streams on Twitch or on YouTube to learn how they play, to see obviously their tutorials, to like to play some champs games and then watch or replay the game to see if they really play well, and if they like play the same way as the pro players play, like to do the same tactics, to play the same way, to do the same meta plays. I think like comparing between you as a casual and the pro players, I think it can be like a good tip for them.
Okay, there you are. So hopefully you guys have had your pen and paper or your mobile. Nowadays, we know technology. You've been making notes about what he's been saying, because those are some free tips that you've got there. I want to see everyone getting at least a nice 19-1 rank 1 from next week.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we'll end it with some quick fire questions. I've got about 10 questions here. Very straightforward. You can do one word answers. You can do whole sentence. You answer them however you like. No problem. First one's going to be, win the FIFA E-Nations Cup or win the FIFA E-World Cup?
The E-Nations Cup.
Okay, the Portuguese vibes, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
Maybe teleporting myself.
Okay, you wouldn't just be out and about wherever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were a footballer, would you be more like Ronaldo or more like Pepe?
Ronaldo, yeah, it has to be Ronaldo. Yeah? It has to be Ronaldo.
Are you a
defender,
forward when you play? Are you a forward or?
I was a cam, a center attacking midfielder.
Okay.
I was like the Ozil style.
Okay.
I prefer like to give an assist rather than scoring a goal. Yeah.
Sure. Well, we're going Portuguese, so we'll go like a Deco, Rui Costa.
Yeah.
That's
that style. Yeah.
Okay. Who is your biggest idol in life? Football and then outside of football.
I have like two idols, but they are both in the whole of sports.
Okay.
And one of them is Cristiano, and the other one is LeBron James from the NBA, because both players obviously they have their talents, which is unique, but like their mentality to not give up every time, like the discipline they have throughout their career, I think is unmatched. And for me, they are really two role models for me and for every younger that wants to perform and have a good performance in life, outside of sport, obviously. I think the best thing I enjoy the most about them is their mentality and the way they are disciplined throughout their careers.
Sure. Okay. A nice and easier one. Favorite food?
It's like duck rice.
Okay.
In Portugal we say like arroz, which is rice, and the duck is pato, so it's like arroz de pato, and in English it's duck rice.
Okay.
It's really good. Yeah.
I'll note that one down and I'll see for myself maybe. Choose one celebrity you'd like to meet.
I've already took a photo with Cristiano, but I would love like it was in the when we were like European champions from Portugal. I think it was in FIFA 21 or 22. We then there's like a meeting between all the Portuguese national teams of all sports. That they give awards. There was like the Portuguese obviously football team. There was like the Esports football team. There was like the feminine the women's national team, and it was like when we like concentrate in a building to have a meeting, and I had the opportunity to take a photo with him, but obviously I would like to like have a dinner and chat with Cristiano, of course.
Yeah, I get that one. That one is, as a Portuguese person, fair enough. Obviously, again, Portugal, we know, wonderful place to be. What would you say is the favorite place you visited outside Portugal?
Outside Portugal, I went to Maldives on a vacation. I think it was like probably the best one. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're more of like a beach, relaxed kind of person then.
Yeah, because in my life, like it's always it's a lot like working
Sure.
in FIFA or outside FIFA, and when I have time to relax, I really like to literally relax.
Yeah, genuinely, that was going to be the next question. I was going to ask, what do you like to do aside from gaming? That was going to be the next.
Outside of gaming, I love to do physical activity. I do like almost every day, honestly, to be fit, and like I think not only to be fit physically, but I think it helps me a lot on the mental side of things, to have like a better self-esteem. Like I think if I do physical activity, I think like I want to play more, for example, FIFA, because I have more confidence. I want to like I have more, I don't say the right term in English, but like to feel like more energy, or to have like more, like I don't know how to say it, but it's like to have like or be more willing to play like in this case FIFA, and I think like the physical activity helped me a lot on doing that.
Okay, this one I've added myself after hearing what we've been discussing. So, 60 games of FUT Champions or 1 day of army training, what's more difficult?
Yeah, it has to be 1 day of army training. Yeah.
Maybe for me, this one is too stressed, that's why. I think I'd rather do the army stuff. Fair enough. If you could play in, let's say, FIFA E-Nations final, who would you pick as your dream opponent? So it can be someone that you think would be a good game to watch, or someone that maybe you think you can win against. What's like your dream final?
I mean, because of the rivalry of nations, I think Brazil, because they speak Portuguese language as well. If it has to be the country, I would pick Brazil.
Okay.
If it was like about players and current players, I would choose obviously Denmark and Anders, because he's the best player in the world right now.
Would you, if you were to win, would you be doing any celebrations?
The shush, yeah.
And I think that is where we will end it. There we have it. That was a lot of fun. Big thanks to Tuga for taking out time from his very, very busy day. He's got to go play some games and then go to the army and then come back to go to the gym again. So it's been a pleasure having you. Hopefully you guys have all enjoyed it. If you did, of course, make sure to show love in the comments, like everywhere. And if you want to stay up to date with future episodes, let us know what guests you want and keep up to date with our socials. Have a wonderful week. In a bit. Bosh.
Thank you so much.